Gaze. Everybody say oh lele, oh lele, oh lele. Can I hear you say oh lele, oh lele, oh lele. Let me hear you say oh lele, oh lele, oh lele.
Well, hello again and welcome back to Accra for day 6 of our challenge. And today we're doing the challenge set by Lisa in the Isles of Scilly, the most beautiful place in the world, in my opinion. She lives in Hewtown, and she set us a very interesting challenge in terms of ingredients. But that challenge was made even more interesting by our supermarket supplier, as you'll now see. So the first ingredient she suggested was mangoes. That's completely fine. That's very local and very traditional food here. No problem with that. Kiwi, and what I thought was a bag of kiwi turns out to be a kiwi. So that's changed what I was going to do with that, but never mind. Prawns, okay still. That's fine, prawns. Peppers, I thought I was getting a kilo of red peppers, but they sent me a single red pepper. But unfortunately I have some green and some yellow, so we'll improvise a little bit with that. That's still okay because the requirement was peppers, and we have peppers, just not as many red ones as I'd hoped for. Rice, absolutely no problem. That was in the cupboard anyway. But courgette. So I asked for a bag of courgettes, or actually a kilo of courgettes, and they sent me this, which I think most people would call a marrow rather than a courgette. And that very much changed my thoughts on what to do, because I was originally going to do a courgette soup to start with, but I figure a marrow that size, it would be almost totally tasteless if I tried to do a soup with that. So what I've decided instead is that I'll use some of the pepper, most of the pepper, to do a spicy mixed pepper soup as a first course. Then, given that we've got the rice and we're in Ghana, I thought I would do a jollof rice, which is basically the national dish of Ghana and indeed most of West Africa. It's a spicy rice mix with a few more peppers. We'll maybe throw in a few prawns. You can basically add anything you like to it, but it's a rice-based spicy dish with a bit of tomato as well. So we'll make up jollof rice, and then what we'll do is we'll cut open the marrow and we'll stuff the marrow with the jollof rice and then bake it off in the oven. So it's almost like the old-fashioned stuffed marrow, but made with a jollof rice stuffing. Then we'll use the rest of the prawns and the kiwi, and I might add something else as well to make a kiwi prawn salad to go with the stuffed marrow with jollof rice. And then finally, using the mango, I thought I'd do a fairly simple but very tasty mango crumble. So there we have 4 dishes: pepper soup, jollof rice stuffed in the marrow, kiwi and prawn salad, and a mango crumble. Okay, so first up is our pepper soup. So for that, I start with my usual base of onion, carrot and celery, chopped up very small, fried in a pan with a little oil for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then add crushed garlic and keep on frying for another 5 minutes or so. So that's all cooked off and softened. I'll then take as much pepper as I can spare, because I need a bit of pepper for my jollof rice as well. So I think I'll probably use half a yellow pepper, half a red pepper, and 2 green peppers. So I'll chop them all up as well, then add them to the pan with the onion and carrot and celery and garlic, all chopped up, all frying nicely. Then to that I'm going to add my chicken stock made with a chicken stock cube and a glass of white wine. So that's our liquid to go with our vegetables. And then in terms of seasoning and flavorings, I'm going to add some mixed herbs, a dash of Worcester sauce, generous dash of Worcester sauce, dash of chili sauce, not too much, and then just some very simple curry powder. Nothing too fancy there, just the bog standard medium, or however you like it, curry powder to the mix. And really that's it. And then just cook that off. Now, normally I'd suggest cook it for longer so that it reduces to get thicker. But we don't have as many peppers as we thought we were going to have. So rather than cook it for a longer period to reduce it, we'll just simmer it very gently. And then at the end, we'll just add a teaspoon of corn flour with a little water, stir that into the mix at the very end and stir for about 5 minutes, and that will do the thickening job rather than the thickening it by evaporation. But hopefully that will be it, a mixed pepper soup with a little bit of curry flavouring. Okay, so now for jollof rice, and as I said, you can't find a more traditional Ghanaian West African dish than jollof rice. You find it everywhere. Everybody loves it. Every restaurant sells it. And the ingredients for jollof rice are not difficult to find. But what is hard to find is a single recipe for jollof rice, because it's one of those dishes where every grandmother has her own secret recipe, and every grandchild thinks that their grandmother makes the best jollof rice. So there are differences in ingredients and differences in styles. I'm just going to add my own slight different twist to it, but essentially this is a very traditional jollof rice recipe. And you'll notice a lot of very similar ingredients keep reappearing. So again, we have onion, carrot, celery, garlic, and red pepper. We're going to use half of this, the half that's left over from the pepper soup. Now, in normal dishes, I would say chop these very small and fry them. But the traditional way of doing this with a jollof rice is you put all of these raw ingredients, chopped up but raw, into a blender with some oil and blitz them down so it becomes a complete paste, an onion-based paste. And then once that's done, then you put it into the frying pan, and with a little more oil, and you cook it off for about 15 minutes. Should just slightly be getting a hint of brown to the paste mix, but not burning. But so you cook those off first in one pan, and then separately into the liquidizer, after you've emptied it of these ingredients, you add a tin of tomatoes, squirt of tomato puree, and a chopped pepper. Put them into the liquidizer and liquidize them down. Okay, then when you've done that, you pour the tomato mixture into your vegetable mixture, mix them all up together. Okay, and then you get onto your seasonings. So we've got garlic powder, simple curry powder again, ginger, a chicken stock cube, mixed herbs, chili sauce, as much or as little as you like, dash of Worcester sauce, this is one of my own additions, salt and pepper, and then cook that for about 15 minutes or so, 15-20 minutes, everything together so that it thickens and reduces a little bit. Then once you've done that, then add your rice plus some water, probably about the same quantity of water as there is rice. And normally, basically, you would then cover that and cook that for half an hour with the lid on till all the liquid's been absorbed by the rice, and that will be your jollof rice mixture. But as we know today, we're going to do it slightly differently, so we'll only cook it for about 15 minutes. The rice should still be have absorbed all the liquid anyway by then, but it won't be completely cooked. Then when we've done that, add a tin. These are macédoine, chopped mixed vegetables, which is very traditional to add here. So you stir that into your jollof rice mix. Okay, then we'll get our marrow, cut it in half, open it up, scoop out the seeds in the middle of the marrow, and add our jollof rice mix, half into one half of the marrow, half into the other half. Put them in a baking dish. Cover the baking dish with foil, maybe even 2 layers of foil, and stick that into the oven for around 30 minutes. That should be enough time for the marrow to completely soften and for some of the flavours of the jollof rice to have seeped into the marrow as well to make it even more tasty. And hopefully when it comes out we should have a jollof rice stuffed marrow. Okay, so next for our kiwi and prawn salad, and I said we might need to find something else to bulk it up with, so I've gone with an orange on this occasion and some nuts. So we've got some cooked prawns, some kiwi, an orange, and in this case some walnuts. Chop them, well, leave the prawns whole, chop up the kiwi into slices, the orange into segments, and cut the walnuts in half. Give them a good mix around, and then also whatever herbs you happen to have. I've got some chive, some parsley and some mint chopped up. Add that to the main ingredients, give that a good mix around. And then for our dressing, I've gone with a traditional honey and mustard. So basically honey and mustard, dash of lemon juice, bit of olive oil, some salt and pepper. Mix that all up in a separate dish. Then shortly before you're ready to serve, not too far in advance, then pour your honey and mustard dressing over your kiwi, prawn, orange, nuts and herbs. And there we have a kiwi and prawn salad. Okay, now then finally to our mango crumble. So for this we take our mangoes, peel them, slice them into, doesn't really matter, big enough chunks. You don't need to pre-cook these because these are very soft, very ripe mangoes. So basically just chop them up, put them into the dish you're going to use. And then what I'm going to do in advance of that is take a few handful of sultanas and I'm going to soak them in a bit of rum for about half an hour or an hour before we assemble our crumble so that they absorb some of the rum. Add a few more chopped walnuts and then I'm going to take 1 or 2 pieces of ginger from a stem ginger in syrup jar if you have it. If you haven't, it doesn't matter, but ginger adds an extra edge to it. So I take the pieces of stem ginger and slice them very, very finely. So we've got a mix of mango, ginger, walnut and sultanas steeped in rum. Give that all a mix in the oven bowl that you're going to use, oven dish, and that's the fruit base. And for the crumble, very simple. Take your flour, put your flour into a bowl, add a pinch of salt, and then as with the pastry was it yesterday only, or the day before yesterday? Cut the butter into small cubes and then using your fingertips, rub the butter into the flour, just as if you were making pastry. Really, it's almost exactly the same. After about 5 minutes, and I did time it yesterday, yeah, it took about 5 minutes, you end up with a nice breadcrumb mixture. Then add your sugar as well, and then just do it a few more times with the sugar in it there as well, and make sure the sugar is well mixed up with the flour and butter mix. And basically that's it, that's your crumble mix. And then you just spoon that over the top of the fruit mix, pat it down so it's reasonably flat and compacted a little on top, and then pop that into the oven for around 30 minutes, probably until the crumble mix on top is starting to go a nice golden brown. And that's it. Suggest you serve it with some nice fresh cream, or if you're on the Isles of Scilly, for goodness sake, splurge out and have some clotted cream with it as well. Cheers, thanks for that challenge, and we'll see you for one more tomorrow. Bye bye.
Jump up and down and move it all around. Shake your hand to the sound, put your hands on the ground. Take 1 step left and 1 step right. 1 to the front and 1 to the side. Clap your hands once and clap your hands twice. And if it looks like this, then you're doing it. A little bit of my